Have you ever felt that peculiar sensation? That hollow ache deep within your chest? That emptiness that seems to expand no matter how desperately you try to fill it? You are not imagining it. You are not broken. What you are experiencing in this very moment is not the end of something beautiful, but rather the sacred beginning of something infinitely greater than your mind can currently comprehend. I know this because I have walked through that same void, that same dark night of the soul where everything you once believed solid simply dissolved into shadows. There was a time when I would wake each morning with that familiar weight of emptiness pressing against my ribs, a hollow space that no amount of achievement, relationship, or distraction could satisfy. The world told me to fill it, to pursue more, to become more, to acquire more. And so I did. I chased success with the fervor of a man running from death itself. I filled my calendar until there was no space left to breathe. I collected experiences like precious stones, hoping one would finally plug that inexplicable void. And yet, the emptiness only grew. It was Manly P. Hall who first illuminated the truth I had been too blind to see. The emptiness was not my enemy. It was my initiation. In his profound wisdom, Hall taught that the void we fear is actually the cosmic womb of creation, the necessary dissolution that precedes every true transformation. What if everything you have been taught about emptiness is backwards? What if the void is not something to escape from, but rather something to surrender into? In the next few moments, I am going to share with you a truth so ancient and yet so radical that it will completely reframe your relationship with that hollow space you have been desperately trying to fill. The mystics of every tradition have spoken of this sacred emptiness. The Buddhists call it sunyata, the pregnant void from which all phenomena arise. The Christian mystics knew it as the dark night of the soul. The Taoists understood it as the empty center of the wheel that allows all movement. The alchemists recognized it as nigredo, the blackening stage where the old self must decompose before the gold of the true self can emerge. What these traditions understood is that emptiness is not absence. It is pure potential. When Manly P. Hall studied the ancient mystery schools, he discovered a pattern repeated across cultures. Before any initiate could receive the highest teachings, they had to pass through what the Greeks called kenosis, a complete emptying out. This was not punishment, but preparation. Think of a cup filled with muddy water. No matter how pure the spring you wish to pour into it, the cup cannot receive anything new until emptied completely. This is what is happening now. That emptiness is not evidence of failure. It is proof of readiness. The universe is creating space within you for something your current self cannot yet imagine. But most people make the fatal error of feeling the emptiness and rushing to fill it with anything available. They mistake the void for a wound needing quick patching, when in truth it is a portal requiring patient passage. The esoteric teachings reveal something extraordinary. In Kabbalah, creation began with Tzimtzum, a divine contraction creating a void within which existence could emerge. God emptied a space within itself so that you could exist. The void is not absence of the divine. It is the mechanism through which the divine manifests. When you feel empty, you experience the same creative process through which worlds are born. Quantum physics confirms ancient mysticism. What we call empty space actually teems with infinite potential energy. The vacuum is full of infinite possibility. This is what you experience in your inner void, pure unformed potential, waiting for your conscious direction. Manly P. Hall taught that every spiritual awakening follows the same pattern: the call, that stirring of discontent, then the crisis, the dissolution of old structures. You are in the chaos, the formless state preceding new order. Most people panic here, mistaking targeted demolition for total destruction. After chaos comes the quest, discovering unknown resources within. Finally comes the return, bringing the treasure of transformation back to illuminate the world. You are in chaos now, exactly where you need to be. The traditions speak of the via negativa, the path of subtraction rather than addition, of emptying rather than filling. This is the mystic's path. St. John of the Cross wrote that, "To arrive at knowing everything, you must go by knowing nothing. To arrive at being everything, you must go by being nothing." This is not nihilism, this is spiritual pragmatism. Every form you cling to limits you. Every identity you defend imprisons you. The emptiness is the key to your liberation. Consider the Holy Grail, that mysterious vessel. Why a cup? Because the Grail's power is not in what it contains, but in its capacity to contain. its receptivity. You are being forged into a grail. The fire, the losses, the shed identities have been burning away impurities, expanding your capacity. But a vessel must be empty to fulfill its purpose. A full cup cannot receive. This is why the void feels uncomfortable. Your ego senses dissolution, and its entire function is self-preservation. It will scream that you are dying, that you must grasp and control immediately. But you are not dying, you are being reborn. Rebirth requires passage through the formless womb. The Hermetic principle of rhythm teaches that everything flows in cycles. Your current emptiness is the exhale of your soul, the necessary release making space for the next inhale. You cannot receive the new without releasing the old. The void is not stagnation, it is transition, the pause between notes that creates music, the space between words allowing meaning to emerge. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna teaches nishkama karma, action without attachment to results. This is the paradox at the heart of spiritual teaching. You must act fully while holding actions lightly, care deeply while remaining unattached to outcomes. This is not apathy, but the highest engagement, action arising from fullness rather than lack. The void is training you in this divine paradox, teaching that your worth is not contingent on accomplishments. Strip everything away, and what remains? The void forces you to answer. What remains is consciousness itself, pure awareness, the unchanging witness. This is the Atman, identical with Brahman. You are not the changing content of experience. You are the space within which experience occurs. The emptiness is not happening to you. The emptiness is revealing you. This is why Manly P. Hall emphasized meditation and inner stillness, not to acquire something new, but to recognize what has always been present. When the mind quiets, what do you encounter? Vast, spacious emptiness. If you resist the urge to fill it, if you simply rest without grasping, something miraculous happens. The emptiness reveals itself full of a presence so subtle, the thinking mind cannot grasp it. This is the peace surpassing understanding, joy requiring no reason. This is your true nature, and the void is the doorway home. The ancient mystery schools taught 3 stages of spiritual development: purification of body and emotions, illumination of the mind, and union with the divine. You cannot skip stages. The emptiness is your purification, burning away everything false, everything that was never really you. Your relationships, achievements, possessions are not you. They are experiences you are having, roles you are playing. When they dissolve, this is not tragedy. This is grace stripping you to essence, preparing you for the illumination and union ahead. There is a Zen teaching about beginner's mind, Shoshin, approaching each moment with openness. The expert's mind is closed, full of knowledge blocking new understanding. The beginner's mind is empty, capable of learning anything. Your emptiness returns you to beginner's mind, to radical openness where transformation becomes possible again. The Taoist concept of Wu Wei, effortless action, points to this truth. When you force life to conform to preferences, you create resistance. When you empty yourself of rigid expectations and align with natural flow, action becomes effortless. The void teaches Wu Wei, showing that grasping and controlling have been exhausting you while preventing what you seek. Release your grip and watch life rearrange itself in ways more beautiful than your planning could achieve. In alchemy, nigredo is followed by albedo, where purified essence emerges, then citrinitas, where solar consciousness awakens, and finally rubedo, where the philosopher's stone is achieved, the perfected union of opposites. You are in nigredo, and it is dark and uncomfortable and feels like death. But death is never the end in alchemy. It is transformation. The caterpillar does not become a butterfly by trying harder. It must dissolve completely in the cocoon's darkness before the butterfly pattern emerges. You are in the cocoon. The liquefaction you feel is not failure. This is the necessary step before your wings form. Hall taught that the universe operates according to precise laws. The law of polarity states that apparent opposites are 2 extremes of the same thing. Emptiness and fullness are not opposites, but 2 aspects of the same reality. The emptiness you feel now is pregnant with the fullness gestating within you. Just as the darkest hour comes before dawn, just as winter's barrenness precedes spring's explosion, your void is the fertile darkness from which your rebirth will emerge. You are not losing yourself, you are finding yourself. The emptiness is not the destination, it is the transition. But you must pass through fully, not around. Through. Let me pause here for a moment, because I sense something important happening as you listen to these words. Perhaps you are feeling that tightness in your chest beginning to soften, that resistance starting to dissolve. You have been fighting against this emptiness for so long, haven't you? How many times have you whispered to yourself in the dark hours of the morning, "Why do I feel so hollow when I have done everything right? Why does nothing satisfy me anymore? Why does success feel empty and achievement feel meaningless?" You are not alone in this sensation. In fact, you are part of a great awakening, a collective shift where millions of souls are simultaneously feeling this same emptiness, because we are all being called to evolve beyond the old paradigm of external validation and material accumulation. I want you to do something simple but profoundly powerful right now. Share in the comments. I embrace the sacred void as my doorway to transformation. This is not just a nice phrase. This is a declaration to the universe, a shift in the energetic frequency you are broadcasting. Something extraordinary happens when we voice our inner truth. First, you acknowledge this pattern in your own life, bringing what was unconscious into consciousness where it can be transformed. Second, you create a ripple that touches countless others who are reading comments at this very moment. People who thought they were the only ones feeling this existential emptiness, who are desperate for confirmation that this void has meaning and purpose. Your comment might be the beacon someone needs to see today, the validation that they are not broken, that this emptiness is not the end, but the beginning of something greater than they can currently imagine. So please, share now. This small act of courage might be the first step toward a transformation not only for yourself, but for everyone who will be touched by your willingness to name the truth. The mystics tell us that nature abhors a vacuum, but this is only half the truth. Nature rushes to fill empty space, yes, but what fills it depends on the quality of the emptiness. If the emptiness is created through violence or force, through suppression or denial, then what rushes in will be chaotic and destructive. But if the emptiness is created through conscious release, through surrender and letting go, through what the Buddhists call non-attachment, then what rushes in will be aligned with your highest good, will be the exact medicine your soul has been seeking. This is why the quality of your relationship with the emptiness matters so much. If you curse it, resist it, try to fill it frantically with anything available, you create polluted emptiness, and polluted emptiness attracts polluted content. But if you can meet the emptiness with curiosity, with reverence, with the understanding that it is a sacred passage, then you create consecrated emptiness, and consecrated emptiness becomes a vessel for the divine. The Sufis teach fana, the annihilation of the ego, which must precede baka, subsistence in God. The separate sense of self must dissolve before the greater self can be revealed. This is why authentic spiritual paths include ego death, confrontation with the void. Your emptiness is fana in progress, and what lies beyond is worth every moment of dissolution. Carl Jung spoke of encountering the self, the archetype of wholeness, the image of God within. This encounter cannot happen while the ego maintains rigid boundaries. The self is too vast for small ego consciousness. The ego must be emptied, expanded, made spacious enough to hold the self's immensity. The void you feel is this expansion, stretching that feels like breaking. But you are not breaking. You are growing into a larger version capable of holding paradox, ambiguity, mystery, and infinite complexity. In Bhakti Yoga, there is Atma Nivedana, complete surrender to the divine. The practitioner offers everything, saying, "Not my will, but thy will." This is not passive resignation, but active trust, the most courageous act possible. It requires feeling the terror of emptiness and doing it anyway, trusting that something within will not let you fall into oblivion. Your emptiness invites you into the surrender. Will you let go of control's white-knuckled grip? Will you trust that the intelligence beating your heart knows what it is doing with your life? The Desert Fathers told of a seeker asking for the path to enlightenment. The hermit took him to the river and suddenly held his head under water. The seeker struggled desperately until finally released. Gasping, he shouted, "Are you trying to kill me?" The hermit replied, "When you want God as desperately as you wanted air, then you will find God." Your emptiness creates that desperation, that urgent longing unsatisfied by anything less than direct encounter with ultimate reality. Only the void, only the dark night, Only complete stripping away can generate the spiritual hunger necessary for breakthrough. Manly P. Hall studied the Tarot's Fool card, numbered 0, the perfect representation of sacred emptiness. The Fool stands at the cliff's edge, about to step into the void. The Fool is wise in a way the cautious mind cannot comprehend, knowing that the journey cannot begin without willingness to leap, that new life requires death of the old. 0 is not nothing. 0 is infinite potential, the number containing all other numbers, the void from which mathematics emerges. You are the Fool at the precipice, and the void before you is not an abyss of destruction, but the opening to your next chapter. All you must do is step. Kashmir Shaivism speaks of spanda, the divine throb, consciousness constantly expanding and contracting, manifesting and dissolving, dancing the eternal dance of form and formlessness. Your personal consciousness follows the same pattern. You expand, contract, fill, empty, create, destroy. This is not pathology. This is the rhythm of existence itself. Your emptiness is the contraction phase, gathering energy for the next expansion. Trust the rhythm. Your soul knows the choreography, even if your mind forgot the steps. In Gnostic Christianity, Kanoma is the emptiness that has forgotten its divine origin, feeling separate from God. But the Gnostic path is not about filling the Kanoma from outside. It is recognizing that the perceived emptiness is illusion, that fullness has always been present, simply obscured by ignorance. Your task is not to fill your emptiness, but to see through it, to recognize that what you thought was empty has always been full. Awakening does not add anything. It removes filters preventing you from seeing what was always there. The emptiness is the dissolution of those filters. The sage Ramana Maharshi taught that the fundamental question is, who am I? Not superficial answers of name and role, but the deep answer discovered by stripping away every layer of identity until you reach that which cannot be stripped away. He called this self-inquiry, and it proceeds by negation. I am not the body, not the thoughts, not the emotions, not the memories, not the personality. What remains when every false identification is removed? The self, pure consciousness, existence itself. Your emptiness is doing this investigation for you, removing each false layer. Though disorienting to lose familiar landmarks of identity, what you are discovering beneath is infinitely more real and valuable than anything being dissolved. Meister Eckhart prayed for God to rid him of God, meaning to release him from limited concepts of the divine so he could experience reality beyond all concepts. This is the prayer your emptiness answers. The God you thought you understood, the life you thought you were building, the self you thought you were becoming. These must empty out so that truth beyond your imagination can reveal itself. You are being rid of your small God so that the infinite God can enter. You are being freed from your narrow life so your true life can begin. You are being emptied of your false self so your authentic self can emerge. This is grace, though it may not feel gracious. This is love, though it may not feel loving. This is healing, though it may feel like wounding. Trust the process. The universe has not abandoned you. It is midwifing your rebirth, and birth is messy and painful and requires passage through a narrow opening from darkness into light. You are almost there. The emptiness leads to a life of greater authenticity where you no longer perform for approval, to relationships of genuine intimacy where you can be seen and loved for who you truly are, to work expressing your unique gifts and serving something larger than personal ambition, to spirituality that is lived rather than believed, embodied rather than conceptualized, real rather than borrowed, to a self that is whole rather than fragmented, integrated rather than divided, awake rather than sleepwalking. This is what awaits beyond the void, what is gestating in the darkness of your dissolution. Something greater is on the way, and the emptiness is its herald, its preparation, its necessary condition. The old must empty to make space for the new. The false must dissolve to reveal the true. The small must die, so the great can be born. You are in the most important moment of your spiritual journey. Years from now, you will recognize this period of emptiness as the turning point, the crucible in which your authentic life was forged. The pain you feel is the pain of transformation, of shedding a skin that no longer fits. Do not run from it. Do not numb it. Do not try to fill it prematurely. Sit with it. Breathe into it. Welcome it. as the messenger it is. The emptiness is your initiation, your purification, your preparation for the greater life already forming and soon to manifest. Manly Palmer Hall devoted his life to illuminating these truths, helping seekers understand that the path is not always comfortable, but always purposeful. He knew that moments of greatest darkness are moments of greatest potential, that the void is not empty but full, not an ending but a beginning, not a curse but a blessing in disguise. This is the wisdom he left for you, for this exact moment. You are exactly where you need to be. The emptiness is not evidence of failure. It is proof of readiness. Something greater is coming. Let go, surrender, trust. The void is not the destination, it is the doorway, and you are standing at the threshold of your greatest becoming. If something within you resonated with these words, if you felt that subtle recognition in the depths of your being, do not allow this moment to slip away unremarked. This was not merely another random video in your feed. The fact that you are here now, that these words found you in this precise moment of your journey, is not coincidence but synchronicity, the universe's way of confirming that you are ready for the truth these teachings illuminate. If you are exhausted from fighting the emptiness, from trying to force life to conform to your expectations, from the endless cycle of grasping and disappointment, this channel exists specifically for you, not as another source of spiritual techniques to add to your already overwhelming practice regimen, but as a space of remembering, of returning to the profound simplicity that our conditioned minds have forgotten. By subscribing, you are not merely following content, you are making a declaration to the cosmos that you are willing to embrace the void, to trust the dissolution, to allow the emptiness to become the womb of your transformation. Each video we share here serves as a mirror for your own inner wisdom, a gentle reminder of truths your soul already knows but your thinking mind may have temporarily obscured. Activate the notification bell as well, not because we seek to inflate metrics, but because the moments when these messages appear in your awareness are rarely accidental. Often, the video that surfaces is precisely the teaching your soul was seeking in that particular moment, the exact medicine you needed to hear. Share this video also with someone you sense is navigating their own dark night, someone who might be standing at that same threshold between the old life dying and the new life not yet born. Sometimes all we need is one perspective, one confirmation, one voice speaking the truth we felt but could not articulate, and our entire reality reorganizes itself around that new understanding. Remember, you have never been alone on this path. We are many, walking alongside each other, rediscovering together what it means to live in harmony with the deeper currents of existence rather than exhausting ourselves fighting against the natural flow of transformation. Until we meet again, permit yourself to rest in the emptiness, to be held by the void, to trust that the dissolution is purposeful and that what emerges from this sacred darkness will exceed anything your limited imagination could have designed. You are not broken. You are not failing. You are becoming. And the emptiness you feel is the beginning, not the end, of something greater than you have yet allowed yourself to dream possible.